Are you a milk chocolate lover in a world of dark chocolate curmudgeons? Well, today I'm going to teach you how to make a milk chocolate tart with hazelnut shortbread crust that will convert any dark chocolate snob. I'm Kate Schaefer, and I'm the owner and founder of Ragged Coast Chocolates, an award-winning chocolate confectionery that I grew from a tiny one-woman home-based business into a thriving manufactory that ships our handmade confections around the world. I've spent 30 years in and around professional kitchens, the last 20 specializing in chocolate, and I love my job. My hope with these videos is that it inspires both home cooks and professionals alike to use chocolate with a little less frustration and a lot more joy. Welcome to the Ragged Coast Kitchen. Milk chocolates. It is a divider of humans. Milk chocolate, dark chocolate, white chocolate. People have opinions, lots of opinions. We love it all at Ragged Coast. We use it all. But by far my favorite milk chocolate is a little on the darker side. This is our caramelized milk chocolate. This is direct trade chocolate from Ecuador. It's single origin from Ecuador. And they've employed an old process that caramelizes the milk in the chocolate to give it this really rich, round, caramely flavor. This chocolate also contains a lot more cocoa than the normal milk chocolate. So 40% cocoa content in this chocolate gives it a really bold chocolate flavor, but still that nice, friendly milkiness on the back end. So this is the chocolate we are gonna be using to make our milk chocolate tart with hazelnut shortbread crust today. It's actually the recipe on the back of the package. So although I will list it down below, if you end up using this chocolate to make this recipe's right on back. First, we're gonna start with the hazelnut shortbread crust. We need, I have to read the recipe, I don't know it by heart, a 1/4 cup of granulated sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So here is my 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and I'm gonna measure out a teaspoon of vanilla extract. It's a little more, okay. And then a 1/2 teaspoon of almond extract. You don't have to use it. Some people are a little sensitive to almond extract. I personally love it, but if you don't love it, you don't need to add it. Do you have any more in there? Yep, just enough, it looks like. All right. And to that, we're gonna add 4 ounces of melted butter. And stir that in. All right, once you've got that melted butter stirred in, we're gonna add 3/4 cup of ground hazelnuts and plus 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. Now, if you want a really finely textured shortbread, grind those hazelnuts really fine. Use your food processor. If you don't mind a really nubbly texture, I personally love that. You can either chop the hazelnuts by hand or grind them in a little, hand nut grinder. I have one that's like probably from the 1930s that it's like got the crank, but anyway, someday I'll show it to you. And I also use a locally milled whole grain flour for this. It's fabulous stuff. The fresher the flour, the better your pastries are gonna turn out. Just saying. I preach it, I live it, and I swear by it. All right into the melted butter mixture. These are raw hazelnuts with the skins. If you prefer to use toasted hazelnuts, that's fine. It does add a depth of flavor that's really, really nice. If you prefer to use hazelnuts without skins, then you can use blanched hazelnuts, available in most grocery stores. All right, so you're just stirring it enough to get all those ingredients mixed in with the melted butter. The beauty of this crust is that there's no rolling involved. We're just gonna empty it right out into our 9-inch tart pan with a removable bottom. And I'm just gonna go around and gently press crust into the sides. This crust is so easy and so versatile. You can make it with or without the nuts. And it's melted butter, guys. It's really quick and is a perfectly textured shortbread when it's done. Okay, that's good. We're gonna put that right on a cookie sheet and we're gonna bake it in a 350-degree oven for 10 to 12 minutes until it's kind of just starting to get a little golden brown. It's still warm and that's the way we want it. We have now 8 ounces of 40% caramelized milk chocolate, and right now I'm bringing 1.25 cups of heavy cream to the boil. Okay, and we're there. I'm gonna pour all of that cream over the chocolate. We're gonna let that sit for a minute. Waiting on the sidelines is 1 beaten egg. This cream has been sitting on top of this chocolate for about 1 minute. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a stir, very gently with a whisk. This has come together in a nice loose emulsion. We're now going to put in our 1 beaten egg. Whisk that in. And again, gently. I'm really actually trying not to add air bubbles to this. I am, but it's okay. All right. This has come together. It's a nice loose pudding texture, and I'm gonna pour it right into my still hot tart crust. Depending on how finely you've ground your almonds, you may or may not have a little leftover filling. If you find that you do have a little leftover, go ahead and just pour it into oven-proof ramekin, and you can bake it right alongside the tart for a little snack later on. All right, this is ready to go back into a 325-degree oven for about 5 to 10 minutes. So we took that tart out of the oven after about 5 or 10 minutes at 325. 5 or 10 minutes, I know, it seems like a big difference, but it really depends on if your oven is accurate or if you have convection or whatever. I find that I just really need to watch it. And I think that this is really the most common question I get from home cooks about recipes and my recipes, but recipes in general, is how do you know when something's done, or why isn't this baking in the time that you said it would? Ovens are different. Not only could your oven not be accurate, but there could be convection, it could be shaped differently, recipe developers just don't know what you're working with necessarily. So my best advice I can give you is to watch what's in your oven and know the signs for when it's done. For this tart in particular, what you want to be looking for is that it's set right around the edge, but is still a little wobbly in the middle. Basically, we're just trying to cook the egg in it. The filling will set on its own even if we didn't bake it, because it is basically a chocolate ganache fortified with an egg. But because we want to cook that egg, that's why we bake it for a very short amount of time. Set around the edges, wobbly in the middle, and then you're going to let it cool completely, and the filling will finish setting as it cools. Now, you can put this in the refrigerator and take it out to serve. If you are doing that, I recommend that you take it out about an hour before you serve it. I really prefer this at room temperature or close to room temperature. Also, if you've chilled it, it will form condensation on the surface. Letting it come to room temperature will get rid of that condensation. So this tart has been cooled, chilled, and then taken out, and I am gonna go ahead and slice a piece and see how it came out. That is lovely. You can see it's just still really creamy. That egg isn't overcooked in there, and that's really what you have to watch out for when you're making a custard type filling. And if I were serving this to a guest, I would definitely garnish it with a little whipped cream, or a lot of whipped cream, and maybe a little shaved chocolate. Right, and let's give it a whirl. I gotta tell you, this job really sucks. Okay, that's really friggin' good. So, if you liked this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up down below. If you have questions, definitely leave a comment. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to our channel. And if you make this recipe, let me know how it goes. Thanks. We'll see you next time on the Ragged Coast Kitchen.